This is Hancock, Maryland, and this is the towpath place that we're staying at. Hancock is on the Potomac River. Look at this caddy. This is an interesting front. Look, they got a busted millstone and a regular millstone and a gate. But oops, they're closed. The Hancock Presbyterian Church has an interesting history. It was organized in 1841, and in 1862, General Stonewall Jackson shelled Hancock, Maryland. His cannon fire hit the church. Here's a picture of the original church, I suppose, and this is a memorial to one of the founders. And this is downtown Hancock. And this is not the railroad. No, it's not the railroad bridge. This is the highway bridge. And here's the towpath. Look at this. Isn't this cool? And these lovely ladies look like they're cyclists. Look at those legs on those cyclists. Wow! And they are good looking to boot. This is Main Street of Hancock, Maryland. Some interesting sidewalk patterns. Old houses on Main Street. Here's a nice Main Street restaurant. Buddy Lou's, with a bicycle up on top. This is the Presbyterian Church, built in 1848. Look at the foundation. Looks like Slade and old brick. And then it has a little tiny cemetery in the back with some older headstones. Look how thin this thing is. Kind of hard to read. 1823, 41 years old. We died in 1823. These things are hard to read. And look at this little line of them right here. So it's quite a small cemetery in the back of the Presbyterian Church, which was bombarded by a Stonewall Jackson cannonball. This is the back side of Buddy Lou's, and this is a memorial garden right at back. Look how they pruned these. And look, it's the Mexican jar lineup. I guess that's what they are. And look at that big house up there on the hill. Look, they even got one of those little take your picture motifs What should it be? It's Buddy Lou's. Hancock, and look, the little teddy bear at the bottom there. Bicycles, bicycles galore. Why, it is on the C O rail trail. Canal trail. Very nicely done, this little park here. Right downtown. Maybe this is part of the church, this Memorial Park. Now, isn't that one of the prettiest parking signs? Howling at the moon with a little necklace around them. All kinds of little neat yard ornaments. And what's with the yellow ribbons? Are these memorials to dogs? Is that what it is? Maybe it's a memorial to people's pets that have passed away. And look at this. It's like a pirate's ship. There's a sink. Hi, fellas. No fleas on me. And listen, I hear water running. The Chesapeake and Ohio Canal National Historical Park. The canal and towpath are dedicated to Justice William O. Douglas. He was an environmentalist, Supreme Court judge, who was instrumental, I guess, in founding this park. This is a neat old bridge across the towpath. And then this is the Western Maryland Railway Trail. So here there are two trails. This is not the Baltimore and Ohio, it's on the other side of the bridge, on the south side. So this is the Western Maryland Railroad. St. Thomas Episcopal Church, Witness to War. On January 5th, 1862, artillery shells screamed overhead from the hills across the Potomac River behind you and crashed into the idyllic scene, the snow-covered town on the hilly riverbank. The street, Union troops took cover behind St. Thomas's Episcopal Church. And I don't know where that is, but here's a picture of it. Maybe it's it right there, up the top of the hill. We'll walk up and see. Okay, back to the narrative. The Hancock Presbyterian Church, where I just came from, down Main Street on your right. General Thomas J. Stonewall Jackson had returned, having already shelled the town the previous afternoon in retaliation for the earlier federal shelling of Shepherdtown. Jackson had led his forces north out of Winchester to capture or drive Union garrisons from towns like Bath, that would be Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, and Hancock, and to destroy the Baltimore and Ohio railroad bridges and depots and cut telegraph wires. Having shelled Hancock for 3 hours on January 4th, the next day he called on the Union commander here, Frederick R. Lander, to surrender. When Lander refused, Jackson opened fire again for an hour. He lacked the manpower necessary to defeat the Federals and take the town. However, especially after Union reinforcements arrived on January 6th, so Jackson marched away, sparing Hancock any further bombardments. Beginning after September 1862 Battle of Antietam and continued long after the July 1863 Battle of Gettysburg, St. Thomas Episcopal Church served as a hospital for wounded Union soldiers. Yes, here's where I am, and here's the church, which is right up there at the top of the hill. Let's talk to this fellow right here. He's very interesting. Okay, this is on the National Road. So this was the Western Maryland Railroad, and now it's the rail trail. Very nice. And then on the other side over there is the B&O rail trail. So here's this bridge across, and it's on Canal Street. How appropriately named. So Hancock was a railroad town, and it was also a fruit growing region. Apples, peaches, what else was it? Apples, peaches, prunes, cherries, plums, not prunes, apples, peaches, cherries, and plums. Here's an old freight building here. Railroad crossing signal. Some old buildings. Look at this one here. And look at the fence. They made it with, looks like they made it with cross ties. Concrete cross ties. This is a really nice trail here. Just for walking and riding a bike home. Another freight warehouse, I guess. The Western Maryland Railroad Trail, I think was built in 1997, somewhere along in there. But look, this is a little park right here. Even got a ramp, gazebo, some benches. And look, here's another ramp. Some of the old houses here. It's an old town. Started out in the 1700s. It's some interesting structures and lots here in this old town. Uh-oh. Something got erased here. Major James Breathed of the Confederate Army. I think he just got canceled. Here's the park, and this is looking down Main Street right here. This is Major James Breathed. He was in the artillery of the Confederate Army, but he was from Hancock. And after the surrender of the Confederates, he moved back to Hancock and became a medical doctor in town. So he was a member of the prominent family in Hancock. Here's the park. And here's the Hancock Museum and Visitor Center. I don't believe they're open though. Look at that bicycle, a tricycle. Yeah, they're not open. And they have some lovely old buildings here. This is a bank. I don't know what this was, probably retail below and office above. This is looking down West Main Street in Hancock. Neptune's Attic, tropical fish. And look, little downstairs stairway. There's some kind of building down there. or office or barber shop or something. And then this right here is another bank building. Former bank. Now, I don't know what it is. I don't see any sign. 1910 is when it was built, and it's a very formidable and attractive brick building. Low rider. Look at that land yacht. Man, that is something. It's a Chrysler. Man, look how wide and long it is. Low rider. They have a nice library in an old house on Main Street or Washington Street. Oh, how risque. A naked olive. This is downtown Berkeley Springs. Berkeley Springs is on the Washington Heritage Trail, which is a 130-mile long trail that George Washington traveled. He also visited Berkeley Springs about a dozen times and brought his family here to soak in the springs. This is the landscaping of the front lawn of the library. And look at this impressive Arts Council building known as the Ice House. I suppose it was an ice house at one time. Right near the library, right beside the library as a matter of fact. From the time that George Washington was 16 years old, through the reading of his will in 1799, George Washington ate, slept, owned land, and bathed in and around Berkeley Springs. Nice displays at Always in Bloom Florist. There's the fire department, and look, there's a statue of a fireman there. Donald Mason, Beechnut was his nickname. I guess he rescued someone, or... And look, they have a local newspaper. This is a spa town. Here's the Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. So Fairfax Street, there's the courthouse. Morgan County, West Virginia. Berkeley Springs was also involved in the Civil War, campaigning in the snow. Stonewall Jackson made a raid on the place on January 1st, 1862, with 8,500 men and 26 cannons, began a winter campaign to disrupt federal control by seizing the county seats of Bath, present-day Berkeley Springs, and Romney. He could threaten the Cumberland, Maryland, and advance towards Parkersburg along the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad. Jackson's forces suffered terribly from freezing rain and snow, and an estimated 2,000 soldiers fell, not to bullets, but to sickness and disease. Jackson seized Bath after fighting 3 running battles and shelling Hancock, Maryland, across the Potomac River. Advancing on Romney, Jackson's men suffered the worst day of the campaign on January 7th, hauling guns and wagons up an icy road and suffering broken arms and legs. Here's the courthouse. They have it nicely landscaped around town. This is a Civil War memorial. This is looking down Fairfax Street towards the State Park, Berkeley Springs State Park. And look at this Vietnam memorial. It's one of the best I've seen. Berkeley Springs Park. This is a park right downtown. Unfortunately, it's right on 522, which runs down the main part of town, and it's noisy with traffic, truck traffic. This says Main Bathhouse, 1929. Wonder what it is now. These are restrooms. Look at this, a cool building. This is the pool, which is closed right now for a private party. But look at this. People over here playing in the water. Look at this. Flower park. Now, this must be one of the spring outlets or inlets from the spring. That says Lady Spring. You see the water flows down through this channel down to that other building. This is Jackson's campaign that occurred in January of 1862 and was largely unsuccessful for the South. This is called George Washington's Vista because George viewed this same valley from the same spot. This is the bicycle place, Cumberland, Maryland. Look at the impressive stone granite entrance. I think this is an apartment building here. Looks like a jungle here. What is this? Somebody's house? Look at that. Bamboo, look at all this bamboo. And look at this log bench. Isn't that something? And then look at this trellis. Holy mackerel. This is a porch. This looks like a porch. Wow.
It's got hours on the door, so something
Look, there's
happens.
another bench right there. Wow. I don't know what this is, but it's in front of a big building. This is a house with a grist mill, but look at the roof and the yard. This is inside the train station where you get your tickets. Here it is. Let's go for a ride. Okay, this is where the C O begins, the western terminus. On Independence Day, July the 4th, 1828, would be an important day for Cumberland, Maryland. On that day, far to the east, the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal and the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad both broke ground. The finish line of these companies' race was the Ohio River. The prize was markets for coal, lumber, and farm goods. There's a canal boat, barge. This is it. This is where it ends. This is Baltimore Street, Cumberland. That's a cool building right there. Look at the fountain.